How's it going? Welcome back to another great video with the majestic host, the Savior, and today we're going to be taking a look at Spider-Man, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, that's right, and I'm very excited because my spider senses are tingling, okay, and it's not just because I just took a whole bag of crack cocaine and shot it right up my anus before recording this video. No, that has nothing to do with this.
No breathing. The weak ones, kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. The whiny ones, miss, could I go and do some breathing? No, you got all playtime to do it in. Oh, go on, miss, oh, go on. Us lot.
I probably now legally have to say that's a joke, otherwise the YouTube algorithm and the AI overlords will come after me. So today I'm going to be giving you my Marvel Spider-Man 2 review, okay? This Marvel Spider-Man 2 game review, and I'm very excited because it's been a while since we had a quality Spider-Man game, you know, the last one being absolutely amazing and a lot of people loved it. I was mixed on it. I do like Spider-Man. I am a massive fan of Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man. Nothing beats Bully Maguire, okay? Let's just get real.
One's at the ready.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
You wish.
Whatever. On the count of three, cast your charms to disarm your opponent. Only to disarm.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
We don't want any accidents here. 1, 2. Up, away!
Stings, doesn't it?
I'm a little bit jaded when it comes to superhero and Marvel stuff, I've got to be honest. That's just how I feel. I just don't care that much about Marvel. But if you're a massive die-hard Marvel fan, then of course you're going to love this. But I'm looking at this from a gamer perspective, okay? Just as a game. Is this a good game or not? And I think that's kind of better because a lot of reviewers are just going to shill this game no matter what because I love Marvel no matter what. And it's so cool. Spider-Man can shoot semen out of his wrist. Wow. Yeah, so I do like Spider-Man, but like I said, I only really like Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. The rest, meh, whatever. Take them or leave them. I know lots of people are simping over Tom Holland or whatever the hell his name is, but I honestly don't really care. I just like the originals. Maybe that's just because that's what I grew up with, and I'm just so tired of seeing endless rehashes, but there you go. But as a game, is it any good? And if you are like me and you're a casual fan of Spider-Man, but you're not a die-hard fan of Spider-Man, is the game still worth it or not? Is Marvel Spider-Man 2 worth it? That's what we're going to be finding out today. Now, before I start this video, I'm not going to bore you to death with a massive sponsorship or anything like that. I simply ask that you do subscribe. It will take you 2 seconds. Literally 2 seconds. I'm looking at you right now, okay? Please, just go down below and hit the goddamn little button. Did I make you uncomfortable? I'm sorry. But seriously, it does only take 2 seconds to subscribe, and it means so much to me. And we are getting so close to 10K. I'm really super passionate about this community that I'm building here. I love discussing with you guys in the comments, so make sure you sound down below. Make sure you give me your opinions down below in the comments. Because no, I seriously do love reading them and just talking to you guys. That's the whole fun of this. And I just love the community that I'm building. So do subscribe. It only takes 2 seconds and it means absolutely everything. I put so much work, day in, day out, you have no idea. Yes, YouTube is not a real job, but it is still a lot of work into my videos. And yeah, I would just appreciate subscribing because we're getting so close to 10K and that would just be amazing. If you like game reviews, gaming content, looking back at older games and where they are now, retrospectives, long-ass video essays and analyses. That's how you say that word. And philosophical content, then you're in the right place. Be a wise boy, don't be a dum-dum. Before we dive straight into this review, because YouTubers love to say they're diving into shit when they're just talking about fucking video games. But before we dive into this review, just go down below and go to my Spotify. I actually make banger cyberpunk synth music. I'm sure you will like it. Go listen to it on Spotify and maybe become a member to support the channel. That would be great because, you know, I'm not IGN over here. I'm not shill up. So I would appreciate it. So Marvel Spider-Man 2 review. Let's go. I absolutely love Insomniac Games, okay? My biggest love is Ratchet & Clank, okay? Ratchet & Clank, the OG trilogy. If you know, you know, okay? They are amazing games. And to be honest, Insomniac just make banger games, okay? They never fail to impress. They are always super smooth when it comes to transitions, without loading screens, okay? They are the opposite of Todd Howard, okay? But they make really good games. This time around, Marvel Spider-Man 2 is 2 times bigger, because bigger always means better, doesn't it, Todd? Let's go into the universe. No, honestly, it does sometimes work, but open world bloat is a big problem in modern day gaming, and does Spider-Man 2 suffer from the bloat? Yes, it does. It's a bit of a bloaty boy. So it is 2 times bigger, but now you can switch instantaneously between characters, and I think that's what GTA 5 were trying to go for, but obviously the technology wasn't there. But here you can just switch between Miles and Peter, which is pretty cool. Obviously some missions you can only play as one character, but that is still very, very cool. Now, of course, because it's 2 times bigger, you can expect a wide range of activities to do as, you know, side little missions, and there is a lot to do here, like, you know, races or hunting down drones, doing these mini games, you know, the standard stuff. But do they feel like busy work? Yes, sadly they do. They haven't found a way to integrate them into the world where it doesn't feel like busy work. The combat, on the other hand, is far from busy work, okay? You know, fighting crime still feels as good as ever, and, you know, that is integrated very nicely. So with this Marvel Spider-Man 2 review, I am going to break it up into positives and negatives, and if you're new to the channel, then you won't know, but that's how I do all of my reviews, because giving you a BS number at the end of the video tells you nothing except that I'm a shill, and I got paid to give you an 8 out of 10. Or I'm a brain-dead IGN journalist who doesn't know how to review a game, thus giving everything a 5 out of 10. It tells you nothing, so that's why I do positives and negatives, and then you can just weigh up the decision if it's worth getting or not, based on your own current value system. Wow. Imagine that. So the combat here is just so much better than the original Spider-Man game from Insomniac, and you never get taken out of the combat because now they've mapped the controls much better, so you don't have to pull up some BS menu like in GTA or Red Dead Redemption, you know, where you are constantly in combat and it never takes you out of it, which is really good, and that's a really smart decision, because a lot of games just don't think about that type of stuff, but to me that's what makes a game immersive or not. And yeah, they just did a much better job at it, because now your abilities are mapped to actual controls, so you don't have to pull up something and then scroll through something to get the ability that you want. And I guess with all the Souls-like games recently coming out, Spider-Man 2 just had to get in on that action, because yes, now there's a parry mechanic. You can actually parry bosses. This is mostly done with bosses or mini bosses, but with some heavy enemy types as well, because the enemy variation here is a lot bigger. You know, you're gonna get drones that zap you from far away. You're going to get enemies that actually drain your abilities, so you actually have to focus on a unique playstyle, stuff like that, which is super cool, because I feel like that was missing a lot in the original Spider-Man game, where it did feel a little bit too easy, very hand-holdy. There are some new mechanics here that, well, they're not exactly mechanics, but there are new options to make it feel much more like an older style game where it doesn't hold your hand as much, because now you can have full damage if you want. You know, web swinging can be more involved, so there is a little bit more difficulty options at play, and the combat emphasizes that, because now there's different movesets that you have to master. Of course, there is still just the button mashing and the kind of quick time events, which I absolutely hate in modern day gaming, which basically feels like you're watching a movie instead of playing a game. But yeah, it's not changed massively, but it is a lot better than it was before. Something that they have added, which I'm not a massive fan of, is because this world is a lot bigger now in Marvel Spider-Man 2, you actually have to clear districts. What does that remind me of? Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, every single fucking open world game that we ever have, because developers can't think of anything new and creative or interesting organic ways to actually progress through an open world. No, you just have to clear locations to unlock, you know, a level system, which then allows you to fast travel, which then allows you to look at the map, which then allows you to do a bunch of side bloat content. It's the same stuff, okay? And I don't want to sound like I don't like this game, okay? That's a critique for any open world modern day game, and I'm just a little bit sick of it at this point. What's core to this game is all solid, okay? It's super good, and you know, this does at times feel like you are playing a movie, and I feel like that's the tone that they were going for with Insomniac and Spider-Man, so I don't hate it for that. It's just not my cup of tea personally, but I do still think it's a good game. That's just a critique for every modern day open world game, and it's a little bit sad that they basically went with that trend instead of trying to find a new creative idea, you know, of a way how to engage with the open world, which they could have done, because let's face it, Insomniac Games are very good at thinking creatively, but they just went for the standard, you know, unlock this part of the map to proceed. So don't get it twisted. I do like this game. I do think this game is very good. It's very amazing. The fans of Spider-Man are going to be super happy, and casual fans of Spider-Man are also going to like it like I do, but it's just, you know, they could have done more with it. It is definitely a sequel, and it has a lot of upgrades. It doesn't feel like a DLC or something like that, but they just could have done more. So the first positive is the fact that you have the symbiote suit, okay? Who doesn't like to be edgy Bully Maguire, okay? It's, you know, the Spider-Man's dream come to life, okay? It's so good, but it comes with a negative, I'm afraid, because yes, the suit is super cool, the abilities are super cool, the animations are super flashy, and yeah, all of that stuff is great. The combat and the abilities of the symbiote suit is also very satisfying to use. It does make you feel like Prototype without any of the actual gore or any of the actual satisfying consequences of kind of being a little bit evil. And that's what I want to talk about. You know, they could have had a little bit of a morality system, which would have made this game so much more engaging if they had, you know, I know it's Spider-Man and you're a good guy, but what made Spider-Man 3 such a meme and why everyone loves it so much is because it's the take of, you know, a hero kind of falling a little bit into darkness, and of course he prevails in the end. And I know this symbiote suit is more under control, you're not literally becoming Venom, but it just would have been cool if you could have been a little bit more evil with it. You know, yes, the animations are a little bit more aggressive. If there was just some kind of meter even, or, you know, some kind of morale system that builds up, you know, as you wear the suit and perform certain actions, which will slowly corrupt you. And it just reminds me of the older Spider-Man games, and they did play with it even more back then, and I just feel like that's a bit of a missed opportunity. Also, it's cool now because with that new enemy variation, some enemies actually have their own unique abilities, and you will have to think, you know, what's best to counter their abilities with your abilities. You know, that was kind of the same case in the first game, but now it's just more fleshed out because there's a wide range of new enemies. And like I said, you will have to manage your abilities now a little bit more, because some enemies will, you know, either be immune to some attacks or they will actually take your abilities away. I can't really spoil anything because I'm only talking about the early game, because I do all of my reviews early, because we cannot trust the gaming industry. We don't know what we're going to get with, you know, fake marketing, hype, and just how the gaming industry is now with shill reviewers and just big outlets like IGN who are just complete jokes. And now on to my next positive, which is the graphics. Of course, graphics are important now in modern day games, and to be honest, I don't really care about graphics. What's more important to me is a consistent art style and immersion. But it does look shiny. It does look very shiny. In fact, all of the options, all of the different graphical options, all have ray tracing enabled. You cannot even turn that shit off because it's just super advanced. And the thing that they've managed to do with this game is really push for technology forward, really make this feel like a next-gen game. And yeah, it does look breathtaking, but the gameplay doesn't always reflect that. Like I said, the combat is very good, but when you're in these kind of scripted moments, you know, it does feel like a hand-holdy roller coaster. Some people don't care about that, some people like that. I personally don't, but that just depends on your, you know, preference. Now, here's another positive, but it does have a slight caveat, but I wouldn't go that far to say it's negative. But basically now with the skill tree system, you have 3 different skill trees, one for Parker, one, why did I say Parker? Peter Parker, whatever, and the other one for Miles, and then one that is kind of shared between them. And it's very cool because they aren't just percentage increases, you know, these do actually give you different abilities and upgrades, so it does make the game feel much more fleshed out, and it doesn't get boring because you're constantly, you know, striving to unlock something new. And that with the upgrades of your suit and all that kind of stuff, there's a lot to do. But the way you unlock these abilities, it's just the same system as, you know, going up in levels. It would have been cool if there was a little bit more activities involved in unlocking these abilities instead of just, you know, gathering XP, but it is still a very nice skill tree, and it's far more wide compared to the first game, which means player agency and the way you play this game, player choice matters much more, which is a huge positive. Another positive is that we now get 200 suit variations, okay? Not saying that we get 200 suits, but the different variations of the suits, it's over 200, which is super cool because that just adds so much customization and cosmetic. And, you know, Spider-Man is all about, you know, doing combat and zipping around in style. I do feel like they played it a little bit safe. Yes, there are some nice moments where you get to see Peter struggle with kind of like an early adulthood crisis, and, you know, what's it like starting as an adult, you know, being in kind of young adulthood and the problems that it comes with and the mentality. And then you get the more traditional college, you know, vibe with Miles, and that's kind of more fun and easygoing, but also has its own struggles with family and stuff like that. So there's a nice balance in the story, but they could have gone deeper. They could have made it a little bit more complicated, a little bit more adult. But at the end of the day, this is a Spider-Man game, so you can't expect that much. But it does continue the story, which was very good. And the cinematic storytelling is nicely done, because, like I said, this is a movie-esque experience. It's not so much a game, it's more of a movie game. And the final positive here is you have a new traversal system. So if you're tired of web swinging, well, now you can actually fly around like a majestic bird.
We need to set a trap. Yeah. And how do you catch a cricket? With a giant bird.
Dude, will you calm down? You're eating that cheese stick like some kind of giant bird, you know?
And that is just super cool, very satisfying. You don't have to be afraid like a goddamn drowning little spider of the water anymore. You can just glide over it, and you can even go into these wind tunnels. It's just very satisfying. So basically they've upgraded everything. It's a much better game. I do like it. I just wish they took more risk with the symbiote suit. I wish they took more risk with the story. I wish they updated how you actually level up and progress in the game instead of just clearing areas in the map, in the open world aspect of the game. That's what I feel is kind of holding it back. But apart from that, it's a great game, and if you're a fan of the first Spider-Man, you're definitely gonna love it. So that is my Marvel Spider-Man 2 review. I do hope you enjoyed this video. My voice has literally broken as I've recorded this video, but you know, it is what it is. So support me by dropping a like on this video. That does help out the algorithm. Apparently, I never ask for likes, but apparently it does. And if you care about my voice breaking after this brilliant content that I just provided, yes, it's so good, I know. It's not really, but... And if you are humble enough, I would be honored to have you subscribe to the channel. And I have to go drink some hot milk. See you in the next video. Peace out.